Hi there. My name is Morgan Alamy, and I am a licensed real estate broker in North Carolina with Keller Williams Connected. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm super excited to start the series of do's and don'ts of buying in the Charlotte metro area. My husband and I bought our first home a year and a half ago, and I'm so glad that we took that leap. But I didn't realize how much I didn't know about the home buying process, about the market. I'm going to share with you things that I wish I had known when we started looking for a home. Hopefully, at some point in the series, I'll be able to be filming outside again from our backyard. I'm in North Carolina, as I said, and it is quite buggy out there in July, and so we're going to be inside today, but hopefully we'll be able to return outside soon. I want to focus this video on the prep. That's right, we're starting at the prep, not the actual search, because there's things you need to do before you start scheduling house tours, things that will set you up for success. The very first thing I'm going to recommend is that you talk to a lender. Do not be afraid to talk about finances. A mortgage lender or a mortgage broker can help you figure out your buying power. What is your budget? What can you afford? Be honest with them. Finances are not really talked about a lot, at least in my friend circle, we don't talk about finances. And so I find that it can be a little bit uncomfortable to talk about what you're making and how much you spend and being honest with your budget. Do not be shy. Your broker can only help you as much as you share. They're going to ask you for a bunch of documents, and that can feel really overwhelming. But just ask questions. If you don't understand, ask questions. They've definitely done this before. And so talk to a lender, very first thing. Next, do not fall in love with a house that is on Zillow. I remember when my husband and I started our home search thinking about, wow, what it would be like to buy a house. I found this really cute little mill house in the Belmont Mount Holly area, and it was cheap and it was yellow, and I was super excited. It had a front porch and everything. And by the time we sat down with a real estate agent, about a week later, not much time had passed, that property was already under contract, and I was really disappointed before we even started our official home search. So do not do what I did. Do not get attached to a property without first being pre-approved and ready to actually go and make an appointment. Third-party websites like Realtor.com and Zillow can be super helpful in showing you what's going on in the market, what maybe is the average price point for houses in the neighborhood that you're looking at. But don't fall in love with a property before you're ready to officially take that next step. Next, do make a list of your non-negotiables. Ask yourself questions like, why do you want to move right now? How long do you want to be in this house? What are things that you truly need to make a move? And what are things that you are going to not touch with a 10-foot pole? I say to make this list now because it can be complicated when you try to make compromises later. If you're really attracted to a house, but there's something that it has that just nags at you, you might convince yourself that you just love that house so much that you're going to do something that you then regret later. So make that list of non-negotiables and stick to it. I recommend that you have a time frame. Do talk about timing. You might need to consider, are you renting or do you need to sell a house before you can move? If you're renting, would you be willing to break the lease? Those are things that are important to know, because things in the real estate world can happen very quickly. And so it's important that you have your feet firmly rooted on the ground in what is important for you. Know if there's a little bit of wiggle room and know if there's not. So definitely have a time frame in mind and communicate that to the people who are supporting you. And then finally, don't go in alone. Hire a real estate agent. The video that I made just before this one is all about what real estate agents do. And to help you ask that question, is it worth it to me to hire a real estate agent? I would love the opportunity to chat with you about that very question. I spend, before my buyers even, agree to hire me, I have a 90-minute buyer consultation where I talk to them about my processes, my communication. I learn about what's important to them and tell them how I'm going to work hard to find that home. I would much rather ask you 500 questions and then only have to show you 5 houses in person than have you driving to Timbuktu and back to look at all these houses that do not meet your list of non-negotiables. And so don't go in alone. A real estate agent is there to help you. You can find a real estate agent before you find a lender, or you could find a lender before you find a real estate agent. If you'd like to know my list of recommended vendors, give me a shout. So to recap, do's and don'ts for the preparation stage of buying a home. Don't be afraid to talk about finances. Don't fall in love with a house online before you get pre-approved. Do make a list of non-negotiables. Do have a time frame in mind, and do not go in alone. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.